All right, bring us in.
All right, welcome back to another Pop Play. We're here with a special guest, Mr. Jesse Hawila. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
As always, Doug,
Me.
Johnny,
Me.
and here we are back with another edition of Pop Play. Today we're going to play some Mario Maker levels that Jesse has created because
So
these are completely insane.
So
and then wait, and then we're going to get into some movies. Okay, go.
Okay, so before we get into that, Jesse, tell
Yes.
us kind of how you're related to WFAA here.
So I am a weather guy. I'm a meteorologist here.
That's right.
WFAA.
He's like the one guy who knows what he's doing in the building.
Yeah, except for
Because you
the
went to
other
school?
ones, right? Yeah, right. So no,
Wow.
it's been
I know.
Take that, Pete Delkus.
Yeah. And everybody in the building.
And everyone else. Yeah, it's been great. I've been here since October, and it's felt like family immediately. I mean, here I am in casual clothes playing video games.
Yay.
So where'd you
Find
come?
me a better job.
Where'd you come from?
Most recently, Kansas City.
Okay.
I was born in Houston, so I'm a Texan.
Excellent.
Then I lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana for a while before that.
Oh, wow.
So
All right. So kind of you've been in the Tornado Alley for the whole time then.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've covered some pretty great stuff. I mean, I've been a storm chaser for many years. We just did a segment on that.
That's right. We
You
did.
could Google it and find it, and we got some really great stuff while I was here. And
We did.
It's good to be in an active area, just because severe weather is a passion.
Of course.
And I like to keep people safe and talk about. Can you imagine working in San Diego?
Yes. I
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Okay, but for a weather guy though,
Especially
what I
today.
do.
It's a little
Especially
boring.
today.
Is that like a weather joke though? Like if we're meteorologists kind of go to retire and die and because you don't have to do much, but hey, it's beautiful. Back to you guys.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. He was some bigwig at the Weather Channel who actually ended up being a meteorologist in San Diego. And he said it's the biggest scam of a job there ever was. You get grossly overpaid to talk about nothing. A
Allegedly.
glorified- yeah,
Allegedly.
That sounds fantastic.
Allegedly. Glorified Vanna
Wait for
White.
that
No,
to
that
say,
sounds
like, little
fantastic.
In parentheses across the screen.
Yeah. Right. Allegedly.
So tell us your history with Mario Maker. How did you get into it? Why did it hook you?
Sure. So for me, Mario, I've been a very big Nintendo nerd my entire life. I've loved Xbox, I've loved PlayStation, but Nintendo's always had its place in my heart.
Aren't you happy you got another one finally?
Right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Another fanboy on the desk here.
You know why? It's because their games are just fun.
They are
Well,
just
they
fun.
are.
And it's funny. We both seem to be big Nintendo guys. But before you guys came in, before we started, we were talking about how Nintendo does continually disappoint both of us.
Right. It does.
Yeah.
They set expectations high on random things, whether it's, I don't know, keeping things in stock properly.
The
or-
amazing amount of Switch games that are available.
Yeah, I know, or good ones.
Is that because we're older at this point? Because I mean, Nintendo's very much a nostalgia product. I think
It is.
at
Yeah.
this point. So is that just because it doesn't carry the magic because we have the adult realities of stock shortages and those kind of dumb, overly mature things rather than just is the new Mario game awesome? We get more wrapped up in stupid adult problems with Nintendo.
I don't know. I feel like the Wii U generation did kind of disappoint with a lot of the games.
Yep.
The games didn't really live up to what they used to be. Like, I loved them when I was a kid, but there was another side of them that I was able to love as an adult. And they're either, great for a beginner or great for, an expert. Nintendo
Right.
games in the early days were really good at that. And with the Wii and Wii U generation, it kind of seemed like, they went for just sticking to that easy, very young demographic without putting in that expert level.
Right. And few and even with those, few and far between.
Right.
And that's where I have found that this has a lot of success because Mario Maker, though, it's pretty unlimitless what you can do. I mean, you can make. There are some crazily insane levels that you can make with this. The other one's Splatoon. Like, you actually can get that expert feeling gameplay.
Right.
So those two have been pretty successful in the Nintendo franchise lately, and I think for that reason is you can actually take it a few steps further than just, okay, I finished Toad's Adventure,
Right.
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
over.
Right. So tell us about Super Mario Maker, more about how you started getting into it.
Sure. So, like I said, I was huge into Nintendo and always into Mario. And then this game came out, and like when they announced it, I was, freaking out about it and so excited. And I would watch Twitch. I watched Twitch every day and would watch some of my favorite streamers who, in the past, Panga was one of them, and he made ROM hacks. He made something called Super Dram World, which was basically this type of level, Kaizo levels, where they're very intense, crazy levels. You have to use every item you have to use damage boosts, you have to do everything just perfect. You have to use things like shell jumps and midair shell jumps, and there's a lot of things that make this a lot more complicated than just what we know as Mario, and it makes it that much more fun for someone who's my age.
Right.
So watching them on Twitch a lot, playing and building and learning over the last few years it's still an obsession.
Shell jumps give me cold sweats right now.
And that's one of the easier things you can do,
It's one of my stresses about playing Mario games is when you leave the kind of the level areas and you have to do things that are kind of bizarro in the air kind of things.
Well, wait till you see what he's about to
I know.
do.
I've seen these before. These are...
Yeah.
Just gives me complete stress.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a level that you made, correct?
Yes, I made this level.
Okay. So
And
go
what'd
ahead
you call
and...
it? What was the word you used just a minute ago?
Wubba lubba dub dub?
No, you call it...
It's a
Kaizo?
Kaizo.
Yeah, what's that?
Kaizo.
What does that mean?
So Kaizo, originally what it is it's a hidden block. A Kaizo block is a hidden block that can cause devastation. And so a lot of times these levels are even more complicated than they seem because I don't have any in mind. But you have a hidden block that will block your path and kill you. You have to jump around specific things that you know are there, but you can't see them. But Kaizo, right now, that term has more so been adopted to just explain a very difficult level that deals with having to use items like springs and P-switches and shells in ways that you're not really supposed to use them.
So kind of like a puzzle.
Yeah, there are puzzle levels even that
Yeah.
Mario Maker has. But yeah, so for P-switch, most people use a P-switch to turn coins
Hilarious.
into blocks. Get it? I said P-switch.
That's right. That's the level that
P-switch.
we run at. I just so you understand, that is our height of maturity right there.
Again,
Yeah, I kind of felt like we hadn't taken it down to that level enough during this episode.
I'm glad we
so
could
far.
set the bar a little bit lower.
That's
while
right.
I'm there.
That's right.
But P-switch turns coins into blocks, and
Excellent.
this is something you use them for much different things. And I've got a few things in here, but there are many more things I could show
Are
you.
those spiky things?
Yeah, those will kill you.
Oh,
Yeah.
see right there.
See, and that's the
From the first jump, man.
That's the first, and then you see I've got the the spiky shaft to the left, and something to show you is
Spiky shaft.
so if you look here, it's like.
Yep. That's it. Here we go.
Well, if you're just looking at this, you got to think like, how am I going to get past this, right? Let me just show you. The spikes are going to kill you.
See, the way that I would get past this is turn it off and play a different game.
Yeah, that's right.
That's kind of why I ended up trading in Super
Where the
Mario
easy
Maker.
levels.
You're right. This is stressful just
my
looking at it.
So you wonder like, how do I get past this, right? And this is just one little section I made. I'll start over to show you. You can't go back. You can't go anywhere else. So you wait for this guy to fall down. You jump on him, turn back left, break your momentum, and I failed. See all these X's? That's where other people have died.
How did you
playing this
know
level.
that
What?
eventually would work?
Testing.
Oh.
So you wait the right time. So you just soft jump, and I messed that up again. Probably because I'm chatting. My apologies.
What are
No,
all the
that's
what
that's
other
the fun of
little X's
PopPlay.
that pop up?
Those X's where other people have played my level and they have died.
There's a lot of people that have died that you killed.
Yeah, and it's just the beginning, right?
Killed a lot of people.
So you jump here, soft jump down, and then boom, you grab the cape, and it puts you on the trampoline. Then you have to slam down to get rid of those munchers. Now this looks complicated. Here's the deal: you need the cape into the pipe, otherwise you can't advance because you have to damage boost. So you have to get somehow. You see that pipe on the far left? You have to get over there without losing your cape.
This looks impossible.
So what you do is,
So what you do is
I,
is
not that. Let me show you again. Let's go through this in a fluid motion. All right, so you jump here.
this is another level of sadistic gaming that I don't think I have the fortitude to take on.
Right?
It's very sadistic. So here you go. You do that.
I'm gonna put.
And see, I
some,
screwed up. So I screwed up. So you got to start over. And that,
How do you know
Could
that?
you have
though?
kept going?
I would, and let me show you why you can't. So that's the other thing with these types of Kaizo levels. If I do that again, let me show you why you can't. I can explain here.
So by the way, if you're watching us for some reason, stop watching us, move your camera, swipe it over, and watch this complete insane craziness that's happening on the screen right now.
So you see what happened? That was a wall clip. It happens every now and then.
So you're not dying yet, though. So why are you starting?
Okay,
over?
yeah. Why I'm starting over is because I need to damage boost to get to the next section. So let me show you what happens here. So let me see if I can make it. Okay. For instance, I damage boost. I'm good, right? You think, okay, he's fine, but here's why you're not. So I made this level where you come out the pipe, you get hit again. All right. So this is called a bomb ladder. One thing you're gonna do here is you ride this guy up.
Oh my god!
Wow.
And see, I screwed that up, but I put a reset door in case you get here. But remember, I lost that. I lost my controller sticks. Sorry about that. All right.
A likely story.
Yeah. All right. We got to start that over again. So this
My
is
controller's broken.
right. That's why I kept going through the door a million times.
Lag.
Yeah. Yeah. Lag.
Wow.
Okay. So boom. So the bomb I did the bomb ladder to clear that path so I can get over there. Now, if you remember, I lost my cape earlier.
Right.
And then I got shrunk down to little Mario because of that saw.
So you only have the one.
Now I can't
You
get through.
can't get over it.
So I make it to where you have to have the cape.
And that was like several steps ahead
Yes.
that you figure out.
And that's, oops, I backed up too much. And that's the yeah.
I like the amount of people who died right there too.
I know they have this false sense of security right there. They feel
Having
good.
to hold in expletives just watching.
No doubt.
But it makes it, this is fun. I did put checkpoints in this one. I have one that has no checkpoints. But this version has checkpoints, which makes it a little bit easier.
That's why I stopped playing the new Zelda DLC is because I didn't.
Wow.
I kept dying before I got to the first checkpoint in the trials stuff, but I think I'm the only one that I'm talking to myself here.
No, I'm listening.
It gets
I'm
frustrating.
the only one that's played it, I think.
Oh yeah,
here.
probably. That's true.
And I think it gets
I
frustrating.
didn't even
for
know it was
people.
out yet.
Oh yeah, it's really
There.
good.
Wow, well done.
So I made it through with the cape. So now I can actually advance through the level here. So we can bomb ladder up. And I screwed that up. But I put reset doors. Again, this version of the level, I made it a little bit easier. So people can actually try to advance through it without getting too frustrated. So you have to land on this platform, then you damage boost. Now you have to use this guy. Look, how do you get up there? This is a shell jump. Like that.
Wow.
This part's
Yeah, I would celebrate with that too.
This part's a little complicated, and I'll probably screw it up, but we're going to try it. I screwed it up. Okay. I haven't played this level in a long, long time, so this part is probably the second most complicated part in the...
What makes this virtually unplayable for me is I can see individual pixels in here.
Oh, yeah.
The graphics aren't good enough.
Horrible graphics.
I'm so 12K right now.
Horrible graphics.
Is this 60 frames a second?
Don't worry, we're switching over to the Xbox One in just a little while.
Oh no, we're gonna make him.
We're gonna make
him.
try.
Oh,
I'll beat this
well.
level.
I know I can't even get to that.
Oh no, I
part.
can't either.
I'm too
I
nervous to
know
do
that for sure.
You can edit this down, of course, but these levels are not meant to be played like... And the other thing, too, is I haven't played this one in a long, long time. But...
So, after you make these, do you read comments, or are there people that play your levels on YouTube, or
Sometimes, yeah, or you can submit them to Twitch people and they'll play them, which is always fun to watch.
So, have you achieved any sort of success that you would call it with your levels?
Yeah, this one did really well. Or the one before it with no checkpoints did really well.
And for you, what is success? What?
Just having people
defines
play
that?
it and like it. So when you get they star they'll star your level because they think it's good. Oops. It's because they'll think it's good. They think it's well made. All right, so let's see if we can actually do this. You got to grab. Nope, screw that up. So you got to grab. So what you have to do here, you spin on those spikes.
Good
You hit
Lord.
that shell. You grab it in the middle of the air, and you take it
Boy, I'm
forward.
heartburn from watching this.
I know. So you take it forward to hit a POW, which will clear your path. So again, it's that whole idea of item abuse and really strange.
Oh, I think there's gonna be some items that get abused after this.
Yeah.
Just in to try to get some sort of tension relief because this is crazy.
Doesn't it make you stressed
Gross.
out?
Yeah, a little bit.
That was a gross.
Was
not
that
funny
awful?
joke.
I would love just to have
I'm not sure what just happened.
segments cut out of this whole thing just strung together into the most horrifying discussion ever.
Yeah, this might not be safe for Channel 8.
That's a real.
Oh,
So,
so
this
close.
part's going to take a second of practice.
colors are
because
pretty.
It's very difficult. So you'll have to forgive the way it's not going as quickly as you may have liked. But that's kind of
But there's entire YouTube channels that are dedicated to people doing nothing
sure.
but watching this for hours.
to beat one level.
Right.
People, I'll watch. In fact, I'm watching a guy right now. He's my favorite streamer on Twitch. His name's The Fail Stream. He is trying to up. By the way, to actually have this level uploaded for people to play, you have to beat it.
Right.
Although if it's not beatable, they're not going to let you upload it. He's been working on this level for more than 400 hours.
Wow.
It's a crazy cape level. This one took me maybe 20 hours to upload.
Wow.
But I can beat it now pretty quickly, especially once I get to checkpoints. This part's really difficult.
So for you, like, that's a lot of time to put into creating like one level.
Right.
Like what a lot of people would, hear that and say, like, what would drive you to spend that much of your free time doing Mario Maker?
Some people will spend a lot of time reading a book. Some people will spend a lot of time in their garden.
Right.
They make up their gardens look really nice or whatever. It's just this like sense of individual success. Just
Right.
it feels good because you love it, and it's challenging. It's
What normal human responsibility did you put off to finish this level? Confession time.
Let's admit, I was making this level the time I was planning a wedding, moving jobs, moving to Dallas. There was a lot I was probably putting off, and
Wow.
a lot of that was probably focused on the wedding. When we got to my wedding, and I looked around, I'd always thought my wife was being a little overreactive with how much stress she said she had with the wedding. And when I actually got there and looked around, I was like, wow, I did very little. Like, there was a lot going on. I was like, I didn't realize just how little I actually did.
Meanwhile, this played on a monitor behind the
Yeah. But this is just what I do in my free time.
I told my dad the other day, I said, I think we're going to get to a point where, like, our generation, when we're old enough to be in, like, assisted living facilities, like, there's going to be people who play golf, and then there's people who do this. Because
Right.
I think there are people who probably treat this much like people treat a recreational sport or any other hobby or, pastime. I mean, I think this is going to be a valid thing in
Right.
40 years.
I don't think it's really just a nerd or geek thing anymore. Everybody plays
I don't
video
think so
games.
either.
It's relaxing.
Right.
It's the way I unwind. Believe it or not, this is how I unwind.
Yeah.
I think we got it. Oh, so close. So you see, we're getting closer. Wow. Once I can get onto that shell, I can make it through. So you basically...
I like how this is relaxing.
it is relaxing.
This is just like the most infuriating thing is somehow relaxing to you.
So when you make it to that second spiny with the shell in your hand, you go through the section where you have to rapidly jump and avoid a couple of things and throw the shell. Again, no item is wasted in these types of levels. Throw the shell to hit a POW to clear your path. You'll see here in just a second. I feel like I'm going to get it right now, right after this.
Well, and you're doing it while basically calling your own play-by-play, so that's not super easy.
No.
Yeah, let's give Jesse a moment of concentration.
Here we go. Oh, it's a spin jump.
Oh.
Okay, I forgot.
Wow.
So close.
See, I forgot.
I don't know what we're close to, though. So, see, I have no reference of what we're close to. Are we close to just more horror and...
I'll be honest with you. Once I get to that, so right after that's a checkpoint, and right after I get to that checkpoint, it's actually I'm really good with cape tricks. It's a lot of cape tricks.
So Nick, do you have a good like soccer announcer voice that you can commentate?
British soccer announcer.
No.
Can we do that?
Do it.
Oh, how... You want? So I have to do play-by-play on this in a
Yeah.
British accent?
Yeah.
Where does the British accent come from?
Nick.
I a couple episodes ago, I opened it like...
Shoot, I screwed that up.
Like every British YouTuber
Yeah.
starts their videos, like, what's up, YouTube? Like that whole thing. So, hell. Okay. Okay, how are we going to do this here? I don't even know how to start this. It's hard.
Just go into it. I think it's a What's Up YouTube.
I'm not a
Right
sports
into it.
I'm not a sports guy. What's up, YouTube? We're here. We're watching Jesse Hawila play the most insane Mario level you've ever seen. So we've watched him restart this particular point at least 345 times. 345 times now. He's on the treadmill. He makes a lovely jump up there. Boom! The munches are all gone. Can he make it? Oh, yes, he makes it right onto the spike shaft.
I beg your pardon?
Please, no laughing at that. All right. So this is the part right here. He's going to make the shell jump. Lovely. Spin. Can he catch a shell? He does. Oh, here he goes. It's a spin jump. He gets the power, and he's going to make it all the way to the checkpoint. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
A round of applause for Jesse Hawila.
Oh, thank you. And now some cape tricks. So here's what you got to do. You got to knock this guy down, and you've got to shell jump off of him. Grab the second POW to clear the second row of munchers, like that. Now you need to catch flight again. This is a hard part. You've got to bomb dive and avoid the spike and get the vine. Now,
what?
I missed that. Okay, I'm glad I stopped here. So when you do that dive, now what I've done here, you see the pit of POWs here?
The pit of POWs.
See the two POWs and the spike?
It's a good band name.
You need these. I'm glad I actually
said that with a
messed
British
this up.
accent.
The pit of POWs.
Pows.
You got to do that stop, that throat stop. No, it's not a hard T. It's a.
Yeah, I like that.
So you saw that pit of POWs. That's actually something you need. So again, we'll try this again.
Oh, at least that was a
That was,
checkpoint.
that was, yes, it was.
So you have to get both POWs to clear all the munchers. There we
Wow.
go. And are you laughing at munchers?
Laughing at everything.
Dude, all bets
There
are
we
off.
go. All right.
Well done.
So now what we do, we saw the POWs down there, right? So there's this Koopa flying right here, and you see the spring. You got to knock him here. You've got to hit the spring and
Shut
POW,
the front
POW.
door.
It cleared the munchers again. You see that? And now we got to fly up here. Oh, look, another shell. Grab this guy. Shell jump and I missed the button. But wait,
It's a
we're not
reset.
done. But wait, we can still do this. So here's what I have to do. Now we have to spin. Now we can't. Well, actually, he might respawn. Let me try. No, we gotta die. We gotta retry that.
So how did you meet your wife?
So it's funny. My wife is I'm what they would call a overachiever.
Ah.
My wife is a very beautiful lady.
I would never believe that.
Or are you trying to say like you kicked your coverage?
Yes, outkicked my coverage.
Very good.
Is the one. She was the weekend anchor
Oh.
at WLFI, her first job in Lafayette, Indiana, and I was weekend weather.
Right on.
That's how we met. She was a cheerleader at Mizzou, and she also cheerleaded for the Pacers for a while.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and she's dating a fat nerd. Marrying a fat nerd. There's hope, everybody.
Oh no, you're already married, right?
I'm married.
Oh yeah, so it's a done deal.
Yeah, it's a done deal. It's
yeah.
possible, everybody. It's possible.
Until this video gets out.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Boom.
stresses me
That's
out.
crazy.
We should be good here. And into the pipe.
Oh.
Checkpoint. And we're almost done with the level. Remember, you
Oh,
cannot
those are cool.
you cannot lose your cape.
Ever.
Oh, that was so close.
This part's pretty fun. I like this part. Let's see if we can do it.
Wow.
Grab the P, throw it up there, come back this way, spin jump, grab another one of these. Oh, I screwed that up big time.
And see, I
happening?
can't even tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is almost the end of the level. So you'll see we got to that checkpoint. This part's really easy from
Wow.
here. So you got to be careful here, because if you screw up one little frame, you'll hit a spike. Like right here, I get really scared because I have to just tap right. If you tap right twice, you hit the spike and you lose your.
At least you get some free guys there.
Yeah, for no reason. Throw that up there. So he gives us our platform. We're here. Grab this guy. And into the pipe.
Wow.
Now. So now we don't have
Are you
pipe
almost out
anymore.
of time?
Nope.
Oh, I see.
So here's a midair spring jump. These are kind of cool.
What?
Got to grab the flower fast enough. You have to hurry and beat. And we did. So
What were you trying to beat there?
Yeah, what?
So did you see the muncher that was going left?
Yes.
Left
Yeah.
to right.
Yes.
If that muncher, if you don't do that fast enough, I made it to where the muncher explodes the bomb, and then the platform for you to get into this door goes away, and you die. But we made it, and this is
Man.
the end of
An
the level.
applause occurred.
I was like, why do you hate fun?
That's just a little troll. We made it.
Whoa.
That's just a little troll.
There you go.
Wow. Well, that was crazy.
I think the only levels I ever made on a game were in Little Big Planet, and
Yeah.
they were mostly to be as impressive, not to be difficult, just to have like something ridiculous go on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I built like a Cadillac that you could get in and everybody could ride in, and it would go off a cliff.
Right.
I don't know. As a video editor, like I thought something like this would be perfect for like downtime for me, but I guess getting in and trying to like actually make a level, just I don't know. It never caught me. Maybe because I didn't go do what you did and watch all the Twitch stuff and dive into like there's a whole subculture of information and like processes behind making these levels that I never even knew was out there until you started.
That's
talking about.
exactly it. It is a whole subculture,
Yeah.
and it's a very small, tight-knit little community.
Right.
And it really is watch and learn.
Right.
And watch and learn. And, to do something like this took a lot of hours.
That's a very
Oh,
sloppy
sure.
star right there.
That's not very well done.
Sloppy star right there.
Yep.
Because I think I would be the same as Doug. The last time I made levels was Little Big Planet, and it was fun to put them out there and see like little hearts when people are like, oh, I like this level.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
you'd get a comment like, hey, this breaks halfway through, and because you have, Little Big Planet was really touchy that way. Like if you didn't get to a certain point at a certain amount of time, like the thing would break down, even though you thought it was.
And you were stuck in a
Right.
spot.
Yeah, and you're stuck in a spot or something didn't work. Anyway, I would make levels for my wife to play because she likes Little Big Planet a lot. So that was part
Right.
of my attraction to build levels was just here. Half of them I didn't even publish publicly. I just would hand the controller over to her and you go, okay, go.
Right.
And I tried to stump her because she's way better at platforming games than I have ever been. So she's she would be totally into this.
And I would start levels and never finish them.
Right.
Yeah, I did a lot of that.
So it'd be just a few little things, and then I would just be like, I don't know why. I would get like a different idea or switch over or whatever. But even getting to a point where I could finish something in this, I think would be difficult for me because I also obsess over the little parts at the beginning that I'm working on. I would sit there and replay the first 2
Right.
minutes of it over and over again until I got it the way I wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
So
The beginning of your levels are always more polished than the ends,
Yeah,
though.
oh,
'cause
yeah.
I've noticed that. I've
it
actually
was just
gone
a
back.
give up for the last
Oh yeah.
10 seconds of the game or whatever. It was
Yeah.
just, whatever you can slide down a hill or whatever.
Right.
The longest hill ever.
Yeah.
But are there other levels that aren't necessarily, that people upload that are not necessarily like death destroyers,
Oh, yeah.
or that are more just like.
People do some amazing things, man. I gotta show you. And they don't, and some of them, they're really easy levels.
Yeah.
One thing that was really cool that I had noticed when I was playing it a little bit was the autoplay levels where you just kind of like run into the level and then it'll do things
Continue
that
on?
kind of take you all the way through it, like a Rube Goldberg.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Those are sweet. In
And
fact, I bet there's.
I ran
Oh,
across
so you did
some of them that were like insane.
Game of Thrones. That's funny.
Let's see why this one's so popular. Yeah, this is an easy level. It's 88% clear rate. I'm not sure.
I see pictures.
Shout out to Jim's
Well, you
on
better not-
the
you better
the maker
not
of the
lose.
level.
Yeah, I know. But the pressure's really.
88%.
Right?
This may be a musical level. Some people like to make.
What does that
Yeah.
mean?
It is, I think.
What does that mean, musical level?
So you can.
fair enough.
Is passing those little blocks.
Are we gonna get in trouble for posting this because of this song? Like, is HBO gonna shut this down?
Yeah.
No, but Nintendo will.
Nintendo totally.
Nintendo will
yeah.
shut everything down.
Oh man, pretty good thing you got those extra lives.
And that's it. Some people make stuff like that.
What?
It's just a way to be creative. Some people do things where they do really cool artistic, like they'll make crazy art using these items, or they'll do these music levels or automatic levels.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned that only 88% of the people make it through that level.
I know.
Right? How do you die in that?
Yeah, it's that first 4 notes of Game of Thrones. Oh, this is Game of
Oh, never mind. Well,
Never
Doug.
seen an episode of
Doug.
that show.
Oh, wait. Why?
Uh-oh.
Why?
Yes.
Because it's just not my thing.
Okay.
That whole
I
genre.
gave it a season, and
Yeah.
then I couldn't do
Well,
it.
Doug hates it.
Well, and I've heard it's just basically like softcore porn mixed with Lord of the Rings, which doesn't sound great.
So
Can you
anyway, tell us
dispute-
more about
can
you.
dispute-
Tell us more
can
about you.
Dispute those claims.
Nope.
I did want to bring this up here. Speaking of not watching things or never seeing things,
Yes.
this is a big talk around here. I have never seen Star Wars.
Oh.
Ever.
Any of them.
Any of
You-
them. Not one of them. But we're going to make this a thing. This will be a thing.
So you were not alone, because there are at least how many people are in this building that we know of that haven't seen Star Wars?
Pete Delkus.
Like, yes, Pete Delkus is one of them.
We have to do a Facebook Live where we make everybody in the building that hasn't seen Star Wars watch it.
Yes.
I want to get a theater chain to give us a theater. for
And
one
I
day.
think you're right. I think we need to do that maybe next May 4th.
I'm thinking
Maybe we can do a whole
that's smart.
thing.
Alamo Draft.
Alamo Draft House, if you're listening, AMC, if you're listening,
Cinemark.
Cinemark, any local chain here up at North Texas. We'd love to do a day where we can rent out a theater and bring all of our people to watch Star Wars who've never seen it. Maybe we'll even get public in on that kind of
Yeah.
a thing. Make it a whole thing. I don't know.
I think that'd be
Oh, what
great
happened
because, especially Pete's not seen it. I have not seen
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That's my middle. So now we're playing Forza Horizon 3 and the DLC that was for the Hot Wheels cars, which is one of the greatest DLCs
Yeah.
I think has ever been released.
It was pretty great.
So, okay, well, this is a good segue. So, speaking of cards, and Jesse, forgive me because we'll try to do this. Speaking of cars, I think most of us at the table have seen Baby Driver at this
Oh, yeah.
point.
Yes. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it yet.
Yeah.
Right.
not seen
So, if we can, and for the sake of audience, because it is still a new movie, let's try to talk about it as spoiler free. If we do get to the point where we're going to talk spoilers, we'll
I'll put up a big.
wave our hands. I'll do this kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I'll play an alarm sound.
Yeah.
I need to get a different.
And then we'll kick Jesse out of the room because he probably wants to see it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But at any rate, okay.
I'll convince you to see it.
So, Baby Driver.
Yes.
It's not a spoiler to just talk about how I felt, right?
No,
No, but
So Edgar
My
Wright
son's-
is one of my favorite directors, all-time favorite directors. Scott Pilgrim is probably in my top 5 movies, and I don't know, I was just a little disappointed. It felt a little bland to me. I liked it; it was good, but it was just all right. And I don't think I've ever walked out of a Edgar Wright movie besides Hot Fuzz saying it's just all right. And I probably made a lot of people mad.
I think Doug is actually seething, like secretly underneath that. Stony
I've
poker
not met
face.
anyone who has had any negative reaction whatsoever.
To Baby Driver,
Right.
To anything.
No, to anything. No, to Baby Driver. It's one of the few movies that I've actually convinced a lot of people to go see and actually had them go see. I took my neighbors to go see it the other day. It is one of the most universally, by my friends, enjoyed movie that I have seen in a long time. And usually I'm such specific taste that usually nobody likes what I like. So
That's not true.
I don't know. As a movie, it was great. As an Edgar Wright movie, I just was let down. I kind of felt like it was building up his pacing. It kind of felt like a practice in pacing for Edgar Wright. And it was doing really well, and he was building up to this big, like, Edgar Wright sequence in the end that, like, kind of really started feeling like him, that just fell flat before it ever, like, hit a final, like, climax for me. It just didn't work.
I think it's, I think a lot of it is what your expectation of how the ending is going to play out.
Yeah.
If you are led to believe that you're going to have a lot more, I want to say, cars involved in
Right.
the ending than what actually plays out. And it's just, I guess it's like, if you don't know what you're getting into when you go into the movie, everything is just a surprise. So even the ending for me was a surprise.
I think if I hadn't have been like super high expectations, expecting Edgar Wright's best movie, and gone in with no expectations at all, like Doug's talking about, I would have walked out the way I walked out of Scott Pilgrim, which was like, whoa, that was amazing. But because I did go in with those expectations, it just didn't feel right to me. But you've said, Nick, that you kind of fall in the middle.
Yeah, I think I kind of fall in between you guys because I didn't have a whole lot of expectations for it because, I mean, honestly, the trailers didn't do a whole lot for me because
Right.
I didn't think the trailers did a very good job of sort of explaining what was there. On the other hand, sometimes I don't mind that if they kind of don't explain and spoon feed me what's going to happen in the movie, that's fine. I wasn't as enamored with it as Doug. I think I liked it more than you.
Yeah.
I don't have the cinematic relationship with Edgar Wright that I think you guys do. So
Right.
outside of the Cornetto trilogy, I don't have that emotional attachment to it.
Which is the first 3 big movies that he did.
Well, right. But I mean, like I've never seen Scott Pilgrim. I mean, I just don't have
First 2 movies before he did Scott Pilgrim, and then the
Then
other
the
one
third one.
afterward.
Yeah, I just don't have that. I mean, I don't think I have that sort of reverential attachment in my brain that
Yeah,
you guys
see,
do. If his name's attached to something, I'm like, oh, cool, I'll go see that. That's cool.
I think for me, you know, I met Edgar when Hot Fuzz came out, and I got to be at one of the premieres at Hot Fuzz, and then hung out with him the next day at the studio. So I have personally attached to him now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't have that. I don't have that. So I'm not wrapped up quite that way.
Right.
But I loved the way that they integrated the music. I told Doug, I said I was kind of shocked, and I hope this isn't too much of a spoiler, but it's almost a musical.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I was watching right before we started. I was watching it's kind of a presentation from NAB 2017 with the editor for the movie, and they were talking about how he basically edited the movie on set because it had to be done that way because of how everything was timed within the scenes.
Right.
To go with the music, and how they had this big idea of doing the whole movie like a musical, but also like doing it in a certain way.
You were just abusing that truck.
Doing it in a certain way to where it didn't feel like a musical. And I feel like for me, that's where it went wrong. I feel like they should have
Interesting.
completely gone with that whole musical feeling, because that was what I was going in expecting, was this sort of over-the-top, big, long music video movie done by Edgar Wright, kind of in the style that Edgar Wright has done in the past, and I just didn't feel that.
And I kind of, my expectation was that it was going to be a lot more serious and, some comedic elements, but it was going to be more of a straightforward movie than he's done without any kind of fantasy stuff. So when, not spoilers, one of the opening sequences is a very timed out, continuous shot with no edits that's all set to music.
It's awesome.
And
It's really
it's
good.
like a musical number. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the movie continues that. Like the more I've seen it 5 times now. Is where all the musical cues come in through the whole movie. It's kind of amazing. Like that, there's that much attention paid to. Those are the worst cars ever to drive. I can't drive a truck.
Okay,
on
so
this.
for those of us,
All right. Why don't we let Jesse play Forza
With a
while we
different
talk
car.
about movies?
Yeah, you should never do anything in your car other than drive. That's what I've decided after watching this. Like, don't listen to the radio. Don't talk to people.
All right. So, Doug, where were you going with that before?
Oh yeah.
You...
So I think the attention to detail in the movie is pretty amazing. Like hitting the beats, the action beats with the music beats.
Yeah.
Is incredible. I had somebody ask me the other day, do you think they chose the music before? And it was obvious in that article that they did have the music all planned out, and they were trying to match the music to go with these songs, and I think that's pretty cool.
Right. I saw an interview with John Hamm where he said when the script was delivered to him, it was delivered with a flash drive with all the music on it.
Oh wow.
To go with every scene. And I've actually had an idea for a screenplay that I've been working on for like years, that I have a track list selected and use that to kind of come up with ideas for the actual story. So it was interesting to hear somebody else, one of my idols, like talk about doing things in the same way.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think it's weird because as going through doing film stuff that I've done, everything in my life is based around music going to a soundtrack of some moment.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, and I totally love that he's had this idea for so long after listening to a song.
Right.
That it kind of clicks in that same kind of primal level that as a person who creates visuals, you want to do stuff like that. You want to have the freedom to do stuff like that.
Right.
And so I thought the music there, especially there's a song by The Damned that's in the bank robbery scene that I think is so awesome and amazing. That every time I see that scene, I just like chills. I love the way he shoots car chases. I thought it would be cool to make a whole movie that was nothing but a continuous car chase.
Speed.
Yeah.
What's that movie?
Kind of, sort of, but I really want cars. I want cars.
Not a bus.
I love the way he kept the camera down low below the cars.
Yeah.
And he never really got it above the cars. So you always saw the cars from a nice low level that made the road feel like it was moving a lot faster.
Right.
Just his style about everything that he does in the movie just speaks to my heart. It's amazing.
So speaking of keeping the camera low, Spider-Man. We can start talking about Spider-Man.
How is that? How's that? Speaking of keeping the camera
I realized reading through some other reviews that one of the reasons the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans just feel so much better to me is because he spends a lot of time flying through the city with Spider-Man in those movies, and you really get that feeling of like the web slinging through the city. And I don't even remember a sequence where he was doing that. And I went back and watched a sequence on YouTube from the Sam Raimi, and it was just so visually exciting and fun. And why is that missing from this new movie? I don't get it.
Well, there was a scene where he swooped down and he grabbed the bicycle thief and he grabbed the bike, and then he was looking around for somebody who needed a bike. There was also a scene where one of the most genius scenes in the movie that I loved is when he was in the suburbs and he throws his web
alert?
up. No, not
Okay.
really.
All right.
Throws his web up and there's nothing to attach to, and he has to run across the golf course. It's awesome. I decide, okay, I love all his little failings, and Johnny and I have talked about this. I love all his failings in the movie because he's still just a kid, doesn't understand what he's got, still acts like a kid, still does kid stuff, still makes ridiculous mistakes, but once, when he's not bored with whatever else is going on in his life, he wants to kind of push those limits a little bit.
Okay, so Nick, what did you think?
So, off the bat, I really, really like Spider-Man. I think you should go see it. Jesse, go see it if you're into that kind of a thing. It was a second act to me. Hi, Don.
Oh, we've got
How are you?
We've got a guest.
We do.
Special
Don's here.
guest.
Is this fun?
Oh my God! Yeah, you want to try it?
No. I was playing COD last night.
How was it?
It was cool. It was
Is that the first time you've ever tried Call of
it's
Duty?
The remix or remaster.
The remaster one that came out last year, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
Modern Warfare, I think.
2 o'clock
think
in the
so.
morning.
Oh.
Man, I gotta get up at 6.
That sounds like the title of my autobiography.
So,
You're not very good at that, are you?
Not this one. No, this is not my thing.
no, this
Can't have
truck
that.
is awful. Let me switch to a different car.
Can't drive.
We attract all the nerdy people in
Yes, we
WFAA.
do. We do. We do a good job.
Um,
So anyway, Spider-Man. Yeah, I think I really liked it. It felt like a second act, which is weird for basically a
what
reboot.
does that mean? What does that mean?
Right,
So,
explain
okay,
yourself.
So,
on
and I'm
that.
not the first one to say this by any means, but there was usually these things are an origin story, and you see how it happened.
Oh,
and,
I was so glad it wasn't an origin story.
well, and to some degree, I am too. I'm okay with the fact that he's like, oh, you got this happened to you, like, oh, that happened to you. So they kind of really gloss over how Spider-Man became Spider-Man.
I think everybody
fine.
kind of knows at this point. Spider-Man is Spider-Man because he got bit by a radioactive spider.
Sure,
If you don't know that, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and so initially I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird that they skipped that, but at the same time, I am happy that they did because we got to move along through the story more so than we probably would have
Right.
otherwise. I really liked Michael Keaton as the villain.
That was
I thought it was a great villain, although he was a little bit one note. Like
Super one.
there wasn't a whole lot of motivation there for me to grab onto.
They didn't explore that character. They had an actor that
Yeah.
is so great in that role, but they kind of just put him on screen to create this, like, plot point,
Right.
and then he would go away. Like, they didn't explore him at all. Maybe they will in the future, but
Yeah, and I think he could definitely come back.
Yeah.
And I hope that's not a spoiler point either. But he's one of the villains who could come back and probably ends up in the MCU again later. But Michael Keaton plays such a good villain, and I don't think people really think of Michael Keaton that way. But I mean, that dude's almost scary when he really wants to be like,
Right.
oh, okay. I mean,
yeah.
but I thought it was just interesting. It felt like a second act to me. It felt like we're already past the implied beginnings, and here we are in the second act, because you basically
Oh, I see
start
what you
off.
mean. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
You're starting in the middle of his story, and that's
So
actually kind of okay.
And that kind of takes it to my point of, like, it was a good movie, but I feel like with all of the Marvel movies in general, they're lacking character. The more in depth they get into this big overall universe, the more each of these separate franchises is losing its own individual character. And I'll point back to, the Tim Burton Batmans, even the Joel Schumacher Batmans, the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. They all had, like, really great character. Like, you could watch one of those movies now and feel a certain nostalgia for it. And I just don't get that at all with the MCU stuff. They're blending together into, like, what I described to Doug as, like, a TV series almost. It feels like a TV series that someone's spending a lot of money on.
So I would disagree with that as far as, have you seen Ant-Man? Okay, go see Ant-Man too. I would disagree with that because I think Ant-Man, of course, that brings it back to the Edgar Wright connection, but
Right.
Ant-Man is one of those that I think was a phenomenal standalone.
Right.
Maybe because I didn't expect anything from it, because I was thinking, oh man, when I heard of Ant-Man, I was like, oh, okay, there you go. That's their first miss.
Right.
I think Doctor Strange less so.
Right. See, I haven't seen Doctor Strange.
But
I didn't see that one.
To some degree, I think you're right, because they are obliged, they're obligated to this thread.
Right. They have to hold themselves back creatively
To
in
some
order
degree.
to fit their movies into this wider universe.
Right.
And that's what kind of scares me about all of this big, wide universe stuff going on, like they're doing with Star Wars. I've felt the same way about Star Wars recently. Great movies, but I feel like they lose some of the character.
So I'll say this again. Do you think that's because you're getting older?
It might be. It might just be I'm getting older and enjoy things in a different way, I guess. But the way I described it to Doug was, it kind of feels like a big TV series because they're missing the cinematic feel. They're missing, like, I don't feel like I'm going to watch a film anymore, and maybe I'm just too
You're going to watch an
jaded of a
episode.
film buff at this point. But I don't know. I just feel like it's TV played up on a big screen with a bigger budget.
And Nick and I talked about this a little bit, is that when you talk about stuff like Burton's Batman and even Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, you didn't have a lot to compare it to. And you didn't
Right.
have any sort of risk involved with it because it wasn't part of a bigger universe. It was like,
Right.
they were like the first things.
Right.
Outside of Superman, you had not had successful, big...
So are we at a
Superhero.
point where we lose that, like, specialness that those movies have?
I think as long as
Yes.
they're superhero movies, yeah, you do, because we've now got a massive collection of superhero movies that are pretty good.
Well, but not only that, and I mentioned this to Doug earlier, Tim Burton was able to take Batman and do what he wanted to do with it, because at the time, just like you said, superhero movies weren't
Right.
a huge thing. So it wasn't a thing that the studio had to bank on,
Right.
right? They could say, okay, yeah, it's cool. We'll give it to weirdo Tim Burton.
Right.
We'll give him this character. Here's, a pot of money. Go do what you're going to do, because
makes
they
me sad.
weren't Well, because they weren't wrapped up in it financially.
And
They didn't go.
Right.
They weren't. It wasn't like DC films where it's like, oh my God, we have to make $1 billion on Batman
yeah.
versus
And that's
Superman.
why-
Like we
that's
have
why-
to make that money to survive here.
Right.
So, I think in some ways, I mean, we're in a golden age of superhero films at this point for the last 12 years or so. And at some point, the fatigue will set in if it hasn't started to already.
I think it's set in on me, and I'd much rather go back to,
But I don't think you can.
The-
I don't think you can go back.
I
now.
don't. I think it's
Because-
going to be really hard to reset. I think you're
'cause
right.
Things like Edgar not being able to do Ant-Man was a perfect example of risk studios don't want to take.
I think you can, but people are just going to have to start coming up with original ideas. Original superheroes, go outside of the Marvel and DC stuff and come
But-
up with their own news stories.
But that's the risk, though. See,
Yeah.
because at this point, I mean, and I think you actually alluded to it. We're not talking in movies about in terms of trilogies anymore. We're talking about them in terms of universes
right.
now.
It's
so
like
you're
a 27
right. So
something.
you're. I mean, you have these
Yeah.
insane multi-movie things that are going to cost billions and billions of dollars over, let's say, 10 or 12 years. That's a whole lot of financial risk that I don't think these studios are willing to take at this point.
Right.
So in a way, your superhero movies are going to be watered down. And as you can see in the case of Super and like Blank Man and some of these other things, if we don't know
Oh
who
my
the
God,
superhero
Blank Man
is,
actually came up.
I know, weird reference. But I'm trying to think of superhero movies where people.
Midnight. What was it called?
Midnight Express.
No. The one with.
I mean,
Joel
Scott Pilgrim was a
Midnight Special.
superhero
Midnight
movie.
Special, yeah. Watch Midnight Special.
Midnight
Totally
Special.
original movie idea that you think is something, and could be a total
All right.
something else.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either.
There's a few movies. Even going back to Unbreakable. Again,
Yeah.
another superhero movie. Spoiler. That you don't know is a superhero movie, and now is going to be continuing on, but a totally original idea that could fit into.
Yeah, but it also took 17 years for him to make the next movie.
No
Because,
spoilers.
Yeah. Anyway. So, Jesse, what do you think? That was a whole lot of
No, I think it's interesting to
superhero
listen
movie
to.
talk, but
I think it's interesting to listen to. I'm more of a TV guy. I mean, you guys
Right.
are clearly film buffs.
Yeah.
I would say I watch more. If my free time is not being spent playing Nintendo, I'm watching.
fair enough.
What TV shows?
Well,
I think
obviously,
we need to
Rick and Morty
discuss Rick and
fans,
Morty.
yes.
Yeah.
Does anybody watch Rick
Yep.
and Morty here?
No, I'm
Yeah.
I'm too
seen
old
a
for
few
that.
episodes. It's one of those shows that if I watch too much of it, just gives me this like anxious feeling in my chest.
Okay, so it's interesting. It has caused. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. There was a moment in time where I had a little bit of an existential crisis after watching Rick and Morty so much. But it kind of puts you into fertile ground in life when you watch it. Not getting into this is not a topic of religion or politics or anything. But when you start thinking of life and you start thinking of the meaning of life, believe it or not, this show really brings those thoughts out.
Interesting.
It does. That's
And-
kind of what I meant. It's an existential anxiety that show
Interesting.
puts me into.
I've got
He's-
to pull up
you've
this
been
quote.
you've been pushing me to watch it, and I keep thinking I'm going to, and I got to find a place where I can stream it and watch it.
This season,
I have the DVDs.
The new season has a roller coaster.
What's a
in it.
DVD?
What?
What's a DVD?
Yeah,
No?
believe it or not. So I have. Some people collect things, you know.
No. Oh yeah. Well, he's the collector, by the way.
Oh, well, check this part out. Half pipe.
Oh yeah, here it comes.
It's a
Everybody
It's a
click
good.
around to the TV screen.
Yes. Good deflection, Doug.
Okay, so what's your Rick and Morty quote?
So
Yes,
I
yes.
watched Rick. I watched the first. There's only 2 seasons out right now. I watched them. Thought it was hilarious. Watched it a second time and kind of a deeper, like, cry, like, oh boy, this is sad
Oh
fashion.
God. Okay.
But there's a lot. But there's a lot to think about. So, for instance, this I don't know why this quote for me sums up what the show's about. Nobody exists, and this is Morty, the grandson of Rick. Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die. So let's just come watch TV. And
That should be our new motto for the station, or like our tagline on every commercial.
it's,
That should be
you're gonna
how-
die anyway. Come watch the weather.
Right. That should be how every anchor opens every newscast.
Yeah.
Or close.
Good evening. I'm John McKay. Death is upon you soon, so you might as well come sit down and watch.
Watch this. Good Lord. Okay.
It's a really no, but it's seriously, it's a very The writing is genius, and I don't say that word as often as many people just throw it out there. Like,
Right.
the writing really is genius, and it makes you laugh, it makes you think, it makes you feel uncomfortable, it makes you. It's just a roller coaster. It's a really fantastic
And there's
show.
a roller coaster in season 3.
And there's a roller coaster in season 3.
Okay, so I think we're at the very end of the show. We're gonna start doing a new thing. I haven't discussed this really with any of you guys.
Oh yeah, you should.
Surprise,
Yeah, you should let us in
spoilers.
on this.
But we're gonna do just go around at the end of every show, and everyone's gonna give recommendations on whether it's TV shows, music, anything pop culture related that's coming up that you're excited for.
Sweet.
This
For
is our
me-
unofficial paid plug that's not paid.
right.
Awesome.
Right. So
I'm
for
in.
me, I have a couple things. Ignore the Valerian bad reviews that are all coming out today. I think that's my thought on it. I really want to see that movie still. Fifth Element is so great, and it looks like a continuation of that sort of style. So ignore those reviews. And number 2 is watch Long Strange Trip. It's a really great documentary on Amazon Prime, following the Grateful Dead.
Oh yeah.
I'm
this
not
is-
really a huge Grateful Dead person, but their story is really, really great, and they tell it really well.
awesome. I think the thing that I'm most into today is the new series, The Defiant Ones, on HBO. It's all about musicians and their stories and everything. I've watched one episode, so obviously I know all about it. But it's really, really well done. It's really interesting, the perspective that they kind of get into, and it's not just the historical footage, but watching these guys kind of talk about, this is what I was thinking back in the day, and this is where I was coming from, is really fascinating to watch people bet on themselves at all costs. You know, like it was,
Right.
everybody knew it was going to be an all or nothing shot, and I mean, these folks made it work, so it's pretty inspiring. And all the movies that we talked about today, go see all those, because they're all good. Despite our overwordiness, they're all really good, so go see them.
I want to do a documentary series about the people that take that risk and just completely fall.
So if you know somebody who's completely failed, let us know in the comments, and we'll get in touch with them.
Make sure you tag them too.
All right, Jesse?
So I just saw The Big Sick. That
Oh.
was a pretty good movie. Kumail Nanjiani?
Yes.
I would suggest that one. It's a good date night movie to watch. Music wise, my favorite band is Manchester Orchestra.
Oh.
Shut up.
Uh-oh.
Are we having a moment
We're
right
having
now?
a moment.
Do you like
Become best
Manchester?
friends?
I think we just became
We
best
became
friends.
friends.
So you're a big fan
Yes.
then?
Yeah,
Nick and I are
we're
going to
going to
the
go to the
Oh,
show.
so am I. So just a side note about Manchester. If you want to call my wife and I fangirls or groupies in a weird way, we stalked the band and Andy Hull. We have 2 set lists signed by them, posters signed by them. I have pictures with them. They're my favorite band, hands down.
Me too.
They're coming out with a new album very soon. They've released 3 singles now that are all fantastic. Was it Black Mile to the Surface? And they'll be coming to Dallas on September.
Soon. I was going to say soonish, but
It's
that's going
House
to
of
be...
Blues.
September? Yeah.
House of Blues, September 9th, 10th, something like that.
It's a
I want to say 10th. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
10th.
it's right before 9/11.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's the day before.
too soon.
Yeah. So it's on the 10th, and album
That's
comes out
awkward.
at the end of this month. Is
It
that
does. It does.
right? Cannot wait.
I know. I absolutely love everything they do.
And they have a new video for their song Alien.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. I mean, I've kind of been, I've never been a huge fan. I know their music. I like it. I'll have to check out the new stuff.
It's weird because I don't get super hung up, stuck on bands a lot. I kind of float around from band to band. For a long time, I have been super stuck on them, and like everything they do, I don't know what it is. It is the weirdest experience. When Nick and I saw them a few years ago, standing there and watching them play live, I had ridiculous chills for the entire show, and it was the weirdest experience I've ever had. I'm like, I feel like bursting into tears.
Yeah,
the
man,
whole time.
they're phenomenal.
I was just like, God, this is amazing.
They're
That's a
so
good show.
good. And I just heard they just announced that the band, which I really have recently fallen in love with, All Get Out,
Yep.
is opening up for them in Dallas.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because we saw them open No, it was not. It was a brand new that opened for them when they
Brand new.
Yeah,
Brand new is very good too.
where they played at Bomb Factory. Yeah, so I'll Get Out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have not seen them live.
I watched them in Kansas City. So I fell in love with All Get Out in Kansas City when they opened up for Manchester Orchestra, and they're coming back. So I'm excited about that. Plus, Splatoon 2 comes out soon, which is the only reason I'm excited to buy my Switch now.
Great recommendation.
So
Yeah, July 21st, I think.
Yep.
And Doug?
For me, LCD Sound System album, Manchester Orchestra album, War of the Planet of the Apes, which I'm super ridiculously excited for. If you have not made it through the Planet of the Apes films in this generation,
I need to go watch
go
that.
watch them.
haven't.
Also,
Does that include the Tim Burton one?
no.
I've never seen
is
that.
outside
That's
the
one of the
universe.
only Tim Burton ones
And
I've never seen.
I believe, hopefully we can edit this out if it's wrong, I believe this guy is the guy that's directing the Ben Affleck Batman.
Oh.
And he's the guy that was involved with JJ on Cloverfield, the original Cloverfield. I want to say he directed it. I think he did. I'm so not processing all this correctly. But anyway,
Well, if you're wrong,
Reeves-
I'll
it's-
just like
it's Matt
flash it up,
Reeves.
up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Can you give the
Anyway.
buzzer noise?
So I'll put the wrong GIF over here.
Yes, well,
No, yeah. Wrong.
and Dunkirk, I'm excited about, especially seeing it in 70 millimeter, which the North Park in Dallas will show it in 70 millimeter.
Cool.
that's cool.
Those are my big ones.
Wrong.
All right, you want to lead us out, Nick?
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us. Leave any comments that you have, whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. Thank you to Jesse.
Hit the subscribe
Doug.
button.
Hit the subscribe button, which we don't have anymore. Hey, we had it in the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, leave your comments. Let us know what you want to talk about, what you're interested in, what games, movies, music, whatever it is that you're listening to.
Which one of us you'd like to stalk the most?
Wow. It's obviously this guy.
It's obviously Johnny.
Yes.
Probably not.
He's got the knit hat thing going on.
I think
Please
I think
pick me.
more people
Pick
are going to
me.
watch us this week than any week we've ever done because Jesse's on. The
So
show.
we might crack 25 views.
Yeah, baby.
Yes.
Let's go for 2
thanks
dozen.
again. We'll see you next time.